Hello everyone, it's been a while since my last rant, and I've decided to return to discuss the problems with the AAA extraction shooter titles that have come out recently, and how COD's DMZ mode can learn not only from their successes and failures, but that of others in the genre. To begin, let's start with how the extraction shooter genre is largely antithetical to the modern gaming industry's practices. Extraction shooters require a lot of care to properly maintain a healthy player count. The problem with this is that AAA studios would rather push out a product and then do the bare minimum to keep it alive, rather than giving it the TLC it needs to truly be successful. Not only this, but the extraction shooter genre, despite having similarities with the live service model which almost every studio and publisher uses nowadays, it is not a perfect fit with it. Cosmetics are the backbone of every live service model out there right now, but they are not a huge priority in extraction games. In Escape from Tarkov, your appearance, once you're done creating your PMC, is largely determined by your gear. In DMZ, many players just decided to forego cosmetics altogether, seeing as default and free skins gave you a better chance to survive as they were harder to see. In the Division 2's Dark Zones, players just used the free outfit pieces rather than the paid ones. This isn't a great profit incentive for AAA companies, which is why Activision decided to add the pay-to-win bundles. Aside from cosmetics, extraction games also tend to have their own self-contained progression systems, so battle passes just usually get ignored, so that's not really helpful either. But it's not just the live service compatibility issues that are the problem. It's the fact casuals are easily turned away by the learning curves and lack of a simple win condition. Many casual players in DMZ just ignored the mission tabs and were turned away by the hostile six-man squads. In EFT, the whole game is practically a learning curve. In Battlefield 2042's Hazard Zone, the mode didn't even have a steep learning curve. It was just go in and get money and extract the data drives. That was it. That's why it died. It was so simple that it was brain dead. Now, what can DMZ learn from this? For starters, it really needs a proper tutorial. Even if it's just text-based, explaining the missions and objective systems would have helped a lot for casual players to understand the mode and get involved. I think they also need to scrap assimilation for squads over 3. While at first it was a cool idea, it quickly devolved into whoever gets a 6-man squad first dominates the rest of the lobby. Now for the drastic changes, I would like to see Infinity Ward focus entirely on DMZ for the post-launch of MW4 in 2026. Sledgehammer Games should work on MP, and Raven will work on Warzone. IW should focus entirely on building this mode to reach its true potential. I think a rework of the bounty system introduced in Season 5 is also in order, which, like I said, we're going to be seeing what other games have done and seeing how they can influence DMZ. In the Division 2's Dark Zones, which, although not a true extraction shooter, it still has the core fundamentals to make it one. Players have this thing called the Rogue Agent status. For those who haven't played the Dark Zones in that game, Rogue Agents are players who have chosen to disavow the Division and kill other agents in order to steal their gear. They're given buffs to certain stats, such as being able to see players' name tags from farther away, and bonus XP gain, and stuff like that. For DMZ, I think this could work where once a player has killed enough players, there'll be an audio call out from the announcer to all players who are nearby. Something like, be advised, a nearby operative has gone rogue. A bounty has been placed on their head. Avoid the area or take him down. The last seen location is on your TAC map. This would mark a radius similar to that of the Hunt Squad contract circles. These would disappear once far enough away, though. Speaking of, I think Hunt Squads should only be available for rogue players. To counter this, I think a traditional bounty for rogue players should be available for the regular players who have not gone on killing sprees. Now, taking inspiration from Tarkov, I think this would be the perfect time for a proper rework to the faction system. Similar to how Bear and USEC are in Tarkov, I think they should do that with Shadow Company and Coney, where at the start of the game you will pick a faction to join, and that will be the one that you stick with for the rest of that season. And this will give you unique rewards alongside the standard missions So basically, you'll have your faction missions, which are unique to your specific faction, but you also have the non-affiliated factions, such as White Lotus, Legion, etc., that'll all be there for all players, but then you'll have your faction missions that'll be there just for you and your other teammates who have agreed to be on your faction. Now, this would be mostly just a loot thing and a mission thing, rather than like an actual thing, because, I mean, it's kind of would suck if your friends picked a different faction than you and now you can't play together. So it would mostly just be a missions and cosmetics and gear and whatever loot you find from those missions thing. Now, another inspiration from Tarkov, I would like to see this would be the perfect time, 2026 would be the perfect time for DMZ to get a proper stash for items. When you bring something out, rather than instantly being converted to cash, you should have the ability to put it in your stash, other than the secure bag. Now, this would also go hand in hand with a market system, which could be introduced with like a rotating loot pool, which every week they'll have different weapons, vests, etc. to be put in, similar to how the crafting station works, except it's not. It's more of a weekly rotation thing rather than just which map you go to. This would also be really interesting for certain missions, like let's say you needed 12 GPUs to complete the last Tier 5 mission or something for Black Mouse. Well, let's say that 2 gold bars are available in the weekly rotation. You can sell 2 gold bars for a GPU, then you're good to go. So that'd be an interesting idea to work with. I don't know where to put this in, so I kind of forgot to mention it during the actual main part of this. But yeah, Modern Warfare Zombies is a thing now, so and that's pretty much just DMZ but PvE only, and that's actually being perceived pretty well, actually. There's some DMZ fans who are upset that the PvP's gone, which I understand. But the main bulk of the COD community is actually enjoying it for the most part, which is surprising. This almost makes me wonder if maybe they should, for DMZ, instead of being a PvPvE game, they should do a PvE VP game. Basically meaning that PvE is the primary focus, and that killing players would rather than being the goal, would be a means to the end. It would be a means to an end, rather, excuse me, sorry. Now, all of these are interesting ideas, but these would only properly work if Activision Infinity Ward gave the mode the love it deserves. I don't want to see DMZ just become another waste of developer resources the same way Hazard Zone was with Battlefield, and how Blackout was with Call of Duty in Black Ops 4. I don't want to see that happen again. Every time that a game dies, it's just another loss for the players. You can say there's people who are out there who are saying, haha, rest in piss DMZ when it stopped getting support last year, but is that really who we are? Do we really want to celebrate the industry failing? Do we really want to see other players disappointed in how things are going? And Warzone is a game mode which I really don't like. I'm very anti-Battle Royale. However, I wouldn't want to see that game mode die because so many people are fans of that mode, they've met friends through that mode, they've enjoyed that mode for almost 4 years now. I think that whenever something dies, it should be a loss to not only players, but to the industry as a whole. The more games fail, the less innovative things become, because every time someone tries something new, if it's not profitable, it gets killed. Which is what the true problem is with AAA extraction shooters. If this genre dies, we might never see something like it again outside of Escape from Tarkov and other indie titles.